And good morning, Lagos, Nigeria. Welcome to the Law FM Morning Show. It's a brand new week. And a brand new month, June 2023. Yes, well, it's Thursday, the first day of June 2023. How you doing this beautiful Thursday morning? It's a wet one, at least from this side of town. I understand in some parts of town, it rained last night. It did not rain today. Yeah, well, I'm not shocked, but you know, it is what it is. But how's it going with you, though? Hope coping well with the entire fuel situation. That, of course, would form, the conversation for today on the show. And so you know what to expect already. We'll be talking about that. We have a question we've posted on social media already as to what the price of fuel is in your location, how much you're currently buying fuel for your generators, for your vehicles, and then how much you're paying to arrive your destinations, workplaces, business places, depending on whether you drive or not. Yeah, so I would like that you comment on that and drop your thoughts as well, as we'll get to that in a moment. But in the meantime, let's get to the news, bring you what's happening in Nigeria and around the world, in the world of business, as well as some news from the judiciary. When we're done with that, we'll go straight to the newsstand, check out what the cover pages are saying, and indeed continue the conversation from there. You can be part of the conversation. You can tweet at LawFM_radio, LawFM_radio, or LawFM Radio on Instagram. You can also join the Facebook Live broadcast going on right now to be part of the conversation. Kingsley, Bassey is my name.
Uzoma, Felix is my name.
And welcome to the show. Let's get straight to the news.
This is the news on the Law FM Morning Show.
Thanks for staying tuned. Talks between the federal government and organized labor over the removal of fuel subsidy ended in a deadlock yesterday as they failed to reach a consensus following the hike in petrol pump prices to over 700 naira from 195 naira per litre by oil marketers. The hour-long meeting, which was held at the presidential villa, was to, among other things, prevent a labor crisis following the recent increase in the petrol pump price occasioned by the discontinuance of petrol subsidy. Early on Wednesday, that was yesterday, the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation Limited said it had adjusted the pump price of premium motor spirit to reflect the market realities. The agency, however, failed to state the prices of petrol. Several retail outlets sold the petrol between 600 and 800 in Lagos, Abuja, Ogun, and some other states. The National Public Relations Officer, Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, Chief Chinedu Ukadike, pointed out that the hike in the cost of premium motor spirit would trigger galloping inflation in the country, stressing that some outlets in the southeastern part of the country were currently dispensing the product at 1,200 naira per litre. President Bola Tinubu has met with the chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, Abdul Rashid Bawan, the chief executive of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, Mele Kyari. This comes amid the resurgence of premium motor spirit scarcity across the country, which followed Tinubu's declaration in his inaugural speech on Monday that fuel subsidy is gone. Emerging from the private meeting in the President's Abuja office yesterday, the EFCC boss declined to give details of the meeting, but as he walked away, accompanied by the NNPC Limited Group Chief Executive Officer, he simply told journalists that he was there to brief the President. Meanwhile, as at 4:15 p.m. yesterday, the President was in a bilateral meeting with the Special envoy of the Chinese President Xi Jinping and Vice Chairman of the Standing Committee of the National People's Congress, Gbenga Ayannuga. The meeting comes barely 72 hours after envoys of the United States of America, the United Kingdom, and Saudi Arabia pledged support for the Tinubu administration. Peng, who was the leader of the Chinese delegation that graced the president's inauguration ceremony, was accompanied by the Chinese ambassador to Nigeria, Zhu Xinjiang, and his deputy. Now, the Academic Staff Union of Universities has filed a lawsuit against the federal government over discriminatory, unfair, and illegal treatment of its members. The senior advocate of Nigeria, Femi Falana, filed the suits on Tuesday at the National Industrial Court in Abuja, the nation's capital, on behalf of the union. Joined in the suit as defendants are the former Ministers of Labour and Employment and Justice, as well as the Accountant General of the Federation, according to a statement made available to newsmen on Wednesday. In these suits, the human rights lawyer is asking the courts to determine whether, having paid the salaries of members of the Joint Staff Union, National Association of Resident Doctors and lecturers in the medical facilities and the medical and dental academic of the Nnamdi Azikiwe University Nnewi campus, Anambra State during the period of industrial actions, the decision of the defendants to withhold the salaries of the members of the claimant from February to October 2022 is not discriminatory and illegal. He also wants the court to determine whether the members of the Academic Staff Union of Universities are not entitled to payment of their salaries for the month of February to October 2022 forthwith. In business, the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited has confirmed the hike in the pump price of premium motor spirits, also known as petrol. The price adjustment by the NNPC is coming some 48 hours after President Bola Tinubu announced an end to the subsidy era during his inaugural speech at the Eagle Square on May 29. Fuel queues have since resurfaced across the country since the presidential pronouncement as Nigerians forage for the premium motor spirit, which is now sold from 400 naira per litre to as high as 600 naira per litre. An NPC spokesman Gadiba Dean Mahmoud in a statement yesterday said the price of the essential commodity has been adjusted in its retail outlets nationwide, but he did not mention a specific amount. He said the price per litre of petrol will continue to fluctuate to reflect market dynamics. Away from the local front, two stories around the continent. A Sudanese diplomatic source announced yesterday that the army had suspended talks with rival paramilitary force over a ceasefire and access to aid. Since April 15th, that fighting has erupted in Sudan between government forces and paramilitary group, the Rapid Support Forces. In early May, negotiations produced a declaration of commitment to protect civilians and two short-term ceasefire deals, although they suffered repeated violations. Speaking in Saudi Arabia, where talks are taking place, a government official accused the paramilitary forces of repeated violations of previous ceasefires. Despite the extension of a previous ceasefire, fighting resumed on Tuesday in the capital Khartoum and in Darfur region. The African Union's Peace and Security Council had met on Saturday, 27th May 2023, at the heads of state and government level. And yesterday, the third meeting of the expanded mechanism on the Sudan crisis met to discuss the implementation of the African Union roadmap for the resolution of the Sudan crisis. those are the stories we're tracking for you on the local business and foreign scene. We now look straight to the judiciary for news from that sector.
And here are your updates from the judiciary. Updates from the presidential election petition court indicate that the 2023 presidential election candidate of the Labour Party, PDP, has persuaded the presidential election petition court sitting in Abuja to adjourn further proceeding on the case he filed to challenge the outcome of the presidential election that held on February 25, owing to the sudden illness of two of his key staff members. Lawyers to President Tinubu, the All Progressive Congress, and the Independent National Electoral Commission did not oppose the application for adjournment. However, the respondents prayed the court to minus a day from the 3 weeks that was originally slated for Obi to present his case. In a brief ruling, the 5-member panel of justices led by Honorable Justice Samani acceded to the application for adjournment and adjourned the petition till Thursday. And a federal high court in Abuja told former governor of Rivers State, Nyesom Wike, on Wednesday that the People's Democratic Party, PDP, has a right to suspend or expel him if the action is done in accordance with the law. Honorable Justice James Omotosho stated this in a judgment delivered in a suit filed by Wike prior to the 2023 general election to seek a court order to stop the PDP from taking action against him without fair hearing. Meanwhile, in Lagos, the trial of Chidinma Ojukwu, the key suspect in a murder case of the late Chief Executive Officer of Super TV, Michael Osifo Ataga, failed to proceed on Tuesday owing to the absence of her lawyer. As a result, Honorable Justice Yetunde Adesanya of the Lagos State High Court sitting at Tafa Balewa Square adjourned the matter till June 8th for continuation of trial. Chidinma, a former 300-level mass communication undergraduate of the University of Lagos, is standing trial alongside one Adedapo Quadri and her sister Chioma Oguchu on a 9-count charge bordering on murder, forgery, and stealing preferred against her by the Lagos State government over the alleged murder of the late Chief Executive Officer of Super TV, Michael Osifo Wataga. And now we go over to Osun State, where the receptionist at the Hilton Hotel, Ile-Ife, Osun State, Adedeji Adeshola, who lodged late Timothy Adegoke into the hotel, has been sentenced to 2 years imprisonment. Adeshola faced trial alongside Dr. Ramon Adedoyin, owner of the hotel, along 5 other workers. While Adedoyin, manager and checker of the hotel, Adeni Aderoba and Oyetunde Kazim were found guilty of murder amongst other charges, Adeshola was convicted of manufacturing evidence. The 3 convicts were sentenced to death by hanging for murder and unlawful killing of Adegoke, who was in Ile-Ife for his postgraduate examination in November 2021 rather. The prosecution and defense in the matter pleaded with the court to tamper justice with mercy on the receptionist, considering the cooperative role she played in unearthing the hidden link in the crime committed. In light of this plea, her sober posture throughout the duration of the trial, amongst other factors, the chief judge then sentenced her to 2 years imprisonment and ordered the sentence to begin running from the first day of her arrest. And now in Makurdi, in Benue State, where Mr. Teso Yesi on Wednesday asked the Makurdi Upper Area Court to dissolve her 13-year-old marriage to Susan following her alleged plans to elope abroad with a clergyman. The petitioner, amongst other things, alleged that his estranged wife was able to save 500,000 naira from money he gives her for the house upkeep. He urged the court to dissolve the marriage and further grant him custody of the 4 children. However, when the case came up for mention, Susan opposed the dissolution of the marriage. The magistrate, Doshima Akpangbes, asked the parties to explore out-of-court settlement and report back to the court before adjourning the matter till July the 10th for hearing. And that brings us to the end of our update from the judiciary.
Well, that's the news on the FM Morning Show. Thanks indeed for being there. For more news stories, do visit www.lefmng.com. It's time now for a short break. When we get back from the break, it will be time for the news stand. Do stay tuned.
There's only one station that
Captivates you.
with the law. Law FM 103.9.
Hello guys, my name is Dele Momodu and you are listening to Law FM 103.9 for knowledge and entertainment. Your only law radio station.
Finest babe, how do you do it?
My skin gives me the extra confidence to light up the room. That's why I'm deliberate about how I nourish my skin. I use a soap made with the right natural ingredients.
A soap? Which one?
A soap that contains shea butter and aloe vera, turmeric and honey for a glowing skin.
Experience the new Joy Black Soap, made with over 7 natural ingredients that moisturize, restore, and repair your skin, giving you the confidence to be who you love to be. Joy, beauty my way.
Right here.
I'm Oluwadamlola Emmanuel, General Manager, Lagos State Waterways Authority, and you're listening to Law FM 103.9 for knowledge and entertainment.
Strap yourself in because we're set up, switched on, and ready to go on Law FM 103.9.
Let's talk. Let's converse. Let's have fun.
It doesn't get better than this.
103.9 Law FM.
Up next, a dive into the papers on the Law FM Morning Show.
Time to check the papers this first day of June 2023. It's a Thursday, and so what are the dailies reporting this beautiful morning? Let's begin with the Vanguard newspaper. Petrol above 500 naira per litre as subsidy removal takes effect. There's multiple riders, but we'll move away from that. Presidential Tribunal. Tinubu, All Progressives Congress oppose tendering of evidence from Beavers. All right. From there, you find 10th National Assembly leadership Mishore G6 meeting and in deadlock. All right, more stories for you. This one says Ghent rejects Galatasaray's 15 million euros offer for gift Auburn. That's as regards sports, but let's go to the top of the page. You find stock market investment sentiment softened to 0.06%. Bandits kill vigilante leader, 17 others in Zamfara. Meet southern middle belt leaders to weave Nigeria together again. Agbakoba advises Tinubu. And Jonathan, NPO, NPAN, Senate, Bassey Mon Dokbesi. Away from that, 10th National Assembly leadership, another one. Here you find one down the bottom of the page, you find another one top of the page. Vanguard newspaper today. All Progressives Congress, Tinubu allegedly back out of Akpabio's endorsement. Allegedly. Alright, we'll find details of this inside the paper, and definitely something we need to talk about. That's what the Vanguard newspaper looks like this Thursday, the 1st of June.
Yes, and on the Tribune newspaper today, you have on bold headline, NLC rejects petrol subsidy removal. Meeting with federal government ends in deadlock. There are 3 riders, says government cannot do it unilaterally. You don't ask partners to negotiate at gunpoint. That's coming from Joe Ajaero. Another rider, fuel subsidy removal, is in other APC governors. And the last rider, Nigerians groaned under transport fare hike. All the stories you get on page 3 of the Tribune newspaper. You also have 2 PDP senators resign from party. That's on page 8. On page 8 as well, your PDP has right to suspend, expel erring members lawfully, court tells Wiki. Also on page 30, you have Timothy Adegoke's mother, court jails receptionist 2 years. On page 2, you have ASUSU's FG over discriminatory treatment of members. On page 2 as well, you have Presidential Election Court admits Atiku PDP's document against Tinubu's victory as witnesses ill health stalls hearing of Obi's Labour petition. A Labour Party's petition, I beg your pardon. Well, on the front of the Tribune newspaper, you have Naira exchanges for 746 Naira 67 kobo to $1 in black market. You have Tinubu meets EFCC boss and MPC GMD. You also have Nigeria's tax to GDP ratio stands at 10.86%, says FIRSC. And these are all the stories we have. Yes, there's a picture of members of the Labour Congress, NLC president, Pengerson president, as well as some other concerned individuals with the Labour Union. I'm sure this must have been shortly after the meeting or before the meeting with the members from the president's team yesterday. All right, that's the end from Tribune newspaper.
Daily Independent newspaper is next. Let's keep things going for you, shall we? Labour rejects new fuel price, says it's ambush on Nigerians. Opens talks with federal government, wants it to go back to status quo. Again, opens talks with federal government, wants federal government to go back to status quo. NNPC increases fuel price to 488 and 557 per litre. Away from that, PDP has the right to suspend, expel weekly court rules. Academic Staff Union of Universities sue federal government over discriminatory treatment of its members. Alright, some more stories here. Removing fuel subsidy now very challenging, Adamu tells All Progressives Congress governors. Panic as United Nigeria plane skids off runway with 50 passengers. Rivers governor swears in commissioners 48 hours after inauguration. So some more stories reported on the cover page of Daily Independent today. Nigeria's tax to GDP ratio rose to 10.86% as at 2021. That's according to the Federal Inland Revenue Service. Senate uncovers how ministries, departments, agencies abused 3.8 trillion naira service-wide votes. Again, Senate uncovers how ministries, department, agencies abused 3.8 trillion naira service-wide vote. And Nigeria aircraft returns to service in Ethiopian Airlines colors. That's boldly written here on the cover page of Daily Independent, and you want to stick around to find out more details as we get into analysis in a moment. One last story here. Daily Independent this Thursday, the 1st of June. Uzoma emerges chairman Progressives Governors Forum, and that's it on the cover page of Daily Independent this Thursday.
Yes, on this day, from this day newspaper, PDP has right to suspend, expel you, court tells Wiki, page 46 of the This Day newspaper. Adhere to our party's manifesto, Adamu urges APC governors. Why is it saying this? Where is it saying this? Pick up the This Day newspaper to get more details. Tinubu, we are ready for business partnership with willing nations, says Nigeria will remain non-aligned. China pledges increased economic cooperation with Nigeria. EFCC chair meets president, briefs him on state of anti-graft war. That's these are riders to the statement made by the president. Well, still on the same This Day newspaper, you have well, I think that's all on This Day newspaper.
Alrighty, that would be that as well. As regards the cover pages, it's time for analysis and indeed your thoughts and contributions in a moment.
Let's talk. Let's converse. Let's have fun.
It doesn't get better than this.
103.9 Low FM.
They say that knowledge is power. But here, knowledge of the law and your rights is true power.
So you see that from recent happenings, we've seen that people have started, to fight for their rights.
Make we yarn, make we talk.
Let's talk.
Make we jolly, make we get fun on 103.9
103.9
Low FM Lagos.
Your station for knowledge and entertainment.
I will implore you, in addition to your course of study, whether you want to migrate, whether ASU is on strike, acquire one or two skills. Short skills that will always be relevant. Please, you never can know where you will need such skill. I am Engineer Olaomi Gaspar, and you're listening to Law FM 103.9.
Yes, the country's premier law radio station, Law FM 103.9. This is the Law FM Morning Show, and you're live on the segment, The News Stand, and we're checking out a couple pages. We're done with the headlines. It's time to provide you details from those stories and indeed get you on board to discuss as well. Well, the guest analyst for the newsstand is available, ready to go. Hope you are ready as well. Let's begin with this report from the Vanguard newspaper, which says that there are strong indications from yesterday suggesting that the candidacy of former Senate Minority Leader Senator Godswill Akpabio may have hit a brick wall, as President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is said to have withdrawn his support for him in the contest for the Senate President in the 10th National Assembly. Recall that the All Progressives Congress sometime last month had announced the endorsement of Senator Godswill Akpabio and three others for the topmost positions in the National Assembly. Senator Akpabio from the South was endorsed for Senate President, Senator Jibrin Barao from Northwest for Deputy Senate President, Tajuddin Abbas of Northwest for Speaker of the House of Representatives, and Kanu from the southeastern part for Deputy Speaker. Well, joining us on the newsstand this morning is Gbenga Ayannuga Paul. Good morning to you, Gbenga.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming through.
Morning, you're welcome.
Yeah, so let's talk about this. It's not confirmed at the moment, but the Vanguard is reporting that there's a possibility that that the president has withdrawn his support for the endorsed, anointed candidate of the party, Senator Godswill Akpabio, and they say that those indications emerged yesterday.
Well, there are two sides to the story. One is the president may truly have withdrawn his support based on new informations that are now available to him, that he sees might serve as a bigger clog in the wheel. Two, it might also be those who are interested in the post, who are not backing down, that are planting all this news in the media to make it look as though the president has withdrawn his support so that they can have an inroad. But this is not new among politicians. Several times they just fabricate things and then plant it in the media, and once it gains traction, some of them end up becoming true, not because it was true from the beginning, but because what they intended to do was to sow the seed that will lead to discord if not properly managed. And it is not just politicians that are doing this. You see, there are times when musicians will fake beefing each other in order to promote a new project that is coming out from their stables, and you will hear something like maybe Bassey FC versus Davido FC, and while the two are friends behind the scene, they will be pushing narratives out by their media handlers to make it seem as though there is some battles, so that they will continue to remain relevant out there. So it is not new until we are able to hear directly from the official source of the president. We should just take it with a pinch of salt, because it is part of politicking. All this game happens from time to time. This is not the first time. If you remember way back in 2016, when the former EFCC chairman was about to be confirmed as EFCC chairman, you remember that the weekend before his confirmation was when they found some large parcel of money abandoned at the Kaduna airport, or was it Abuja airport that time, where they said some people abandoned, large cache of cash in the airport. And some people were saying then that it was a game to make it look as though the EFCC chairman was performing and hardworking. I mean, after he got the nod of the president to go ahead and continue on the job, did you see any spectacular performance from his side before he got booted out eventually? So these things happen all the time.
All right, let's continue on that story, by the way. And again, this is reported by the Vanguard newspaper, and they say in this report that they've gathered yesterday that senators mainly from the southwestern part of the country have called for a meeting for tomorrow, Friday, where they will take a decision to work towards reviewing their position on choice of leadership of the Senate, according to a senator from one of the states in the southwest. And this again is by the Vanguard. The meeting is for senators from the zone to know the outcome of a crucial meeting of the leading tendency among the senators elect, scheduled for Thursday. Okay, that will be today, which they have strategically requested some of their members to attend. And they continue in this report to say that President Bola Tinubu is said to have heeded the advice of his trusted political allies by tacitly withdrawing his support for the former governor of Akwa Ibom State, Senator Godswill Akpabio. And the president's sources said, the president, according to the source reported by the Vanguard, said that the president is resolute in running a corruption-free government with emphasis on strengthening all the existing policies and institutions concerned with anti-corruption towards achieving this goal. So we'll see how things play out, as you've said, Gbenga, on this matter.
Until we hear it from the horse's mouth. Don't forget also that the meeting today might also be for trading purpose, where, because every one of them wants something at the end of the day. So if you're talking about corruption being part of the reason why they want to do away with Akpabio, who is the next alternative? Don't forget that the next alternative from the south, except Osita Izuna, of course, is considered. The next alternative, which is Ojikalu, had a case. He even went to prison for some time before, on technicality grounds, he was able to regain his freedom. So, and you see, all of these things stick psychologically in the minds of the people. So, except Osita Izuna, is the now newly preferred candidate, I don't see any difference. But until we hear from the horse's mouth, or we see the body language clearly out there that they are truly withdrawn, all these games happen all the time. The senators will meet and say, Ogbeni, we are not giving you this except you give us chairman on this, chairman on that, chairman on this, chairman on that.
So you are saying there would be some give and take between the all the incoming members of the Senate?
That's how it's done every year.
All right.
Every circle.
All right, we'll leave it at that. We'll move on swiftly to the Nigerian Tribune newspaper, where one very interesting headline that says PDP has right to suspend, expel hearing members lawfully, court tells Wiki. And when you got wind of this news, what are your views on them?
Yeah, Gbenga, just before you respond to that, we need to go on a very short break, okay? So, but we'll talk about this news as regards to Wiki and the ongoing, it's been there for a while with between the PDP and Ngesam Wiki of Rivers State. So we'll be back in a moment.
Strap yourself in because we're set up, switched on, and ready to go on Law FM 103.9.
Finest babe, how do you do it?
My skin gives me the extra confidence to light up the room. That's why I'm deliberate about how I nourish my skin. I use a soap made with the right natural ingredients.
A soap? Which one?
A soap that contains shea butter and aloe vera, turmeric and honey for a glowing skin.
Experience the new Joy Black Soap, made with over 7 natural ingredients that moisturize, restore, and repair your skin, giving you the confidence to be who you love to be. Joy, beauty my way.
Hold on tight.
I'm Olufemi Pedro.
I'm Omoyele Showore.
My name is Honorable Akim Dixon.
This is Honorable Adekunle Akobada. I'm Dele Momodu, and you are listening to Law FM 103.9 for knowledge and entertainment. Your only law radio station.
The station for knowledge and entertainment, Law FM 103.9, your only law radio station. Thanks for staying tuned. Let's continue the conversation as we do so and go to that story around Wiki. Let's tell you, there's a breaking news at the moment, and that's reported exclusively by Daily Trust newspaper. And they say that the Central Bank of Nigeria has devalued the naira to 631 naira to the dollar from 461.6 naira. It's sold at the importers and exporters window the previous day. The devaluation came 48 hours after President Bola Ahmed Tinubu announced the plans of the federal government to unify the country's exchange rate to stimulate the economy. Remember also that there was the president had a meeting with the central bank governor on Tuesday. Yesterday, the president met with the Mele Kyari of the NNPC and the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission boss, Abdurrashid Bawa. Yes, I was going to mention another name now. That's for the police. But hey, yeah, this name's jamming. But that's as regards that. We'll get to talk about this a lot more in a moment. But Gbenga is there. Gbenga, let's talk about that story. Here's some week of Rivers State. Gbenga is a guest today on the newsstand. Gbenga, good morning again. Thanks for being there. All right, I will try to re-establish connections with Gbenga in a moment and talk some more with him as we got this particular story. But that is that with that. Also, let's bring you details of some more stories, headlines we saw on the cover pages before we get to the discourse, the hot topic for the morning. Let's bring you this one reported by the Punch newspaper this morning that the National Assembly management has commenced clearance of members of the Senate, beg your pardon, and the House of Representatives for payment and collection of severance packages as the 9th Assembly winds down. Again, the National Assembly, that's the management, has commenced clearance of members of the Senate and the House of Representatives for payment and collection of severance packages that as they approach the end of the 9th Assembly. Now, the clerk of the House, Yaya Danzari, made this known in a notice to members at the plenary on Wednesday. Alrighty, so let's get Gbenga back on board in a moment, and then we continue the conversation as we get analysis for the newsstand. this morning. Alrighty, we told you during the news when we brought you details from the judiciary that the Presidential Election Petitions Court in Abuja yesterday admitted a total of 337 exhibits tendered by the People's Democratic Party and its presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar, challenging the emergence of President Bola Tinubu as the winner of the February 25 presidential election. Gbenga, thanks for staying tuned.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome. So let's go very quickly talk about Wike and the possibility of the People's Democratic Party suspending or expelling generally, essentially the former governor of Rivers State.
There is a song we used to sing in the fellowship in campus then, that too late, too late, too late, too late, too late. You know, it's too late already. Whatever they want to do to Wike now, first and foremost, to expel anybody in the party, it has to be conducted at the ward level. And Wike, through the new governor, is fully in control of the party apparatus in his state. So if his chairman at his ward level do not suspend him, then what can the national do? Because whatever the national wants to do has to emanate from the ward level. And if they do eventually succeed in suspending him, they are only making his transition into the APC way easier for him to do. Because he will say, yes, I don't like this party. I've said severally that I'm not going to be part of them. But if the party that I built with my money now decided to gang up against me and suspend me, I have no choice than to join the family that welcomes me. And that is an explanation that I think people will be willing to accept and say he has a point there. So it is truly whatever they are doing now is medicine after death.
All right, but this to me looks like, why would you, the party, so until, well, that's what the PDP or in fact, even other constituencies, political parties' constituencies, that it's the ward that has to suspend you. But in situations like this, maybe I would have to study that constitution again to see if, because somebody has behaved or acted the way the former governor acted, some people have called it anti-party activity, and you're saying the national cannot, sanction that particular person. Don't you think that the constitution and that the sanction had to come from the ward where the person, and he owns the structure of the ward of the state, overwhelming structure, overwhelming strength over the ward, the senatorial district, and even the state as a whole. And you are saying that the constitution is saying that it is only the ward that can suspend that person. What do you think of such kind of political arrangement?
Well, the constitution is the constitution. That's why constitutions are open for review from time to time. So if they see that there is a lacuna in the constitution right now that will not make it possible for them to suspend him at the national level without resorting to the ward, if the ward is not cooperating with them at national, then they will look for a way to prevent such future occurrence by making sure that they change or adjust this aspect of the constitution.
Anyways, straight we'll move. Let's talk about ASU. Let's talk about ASU, another court case. ASU has now sued the federal government over. Hello? Gbenga, can you hear us? Hello, Gbenga, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right. So, still on the Tribune newspaper, Nigerian Tribune newspaper, you have another story. Interesting. Just yesterday or 2 days ago, we heard that the National Industrial Court, handing down judgment saying the no work, no pay rule is, proper for the federal government to enforce. But now the ASU is now in court. They've now sued the federal government over discriminatory treatment of its members. ASU is claiming that, there were payments made to some other members of the union but were not paid to some other members. Well, that's what ASU is tagging as discrimination. Do you agree with ASU on this?
Well, I don't have to agree or disagree with ASU on this. what the question we should ask is, to what end is the government fighting this battle or prolonging this battle? There's a thing in Yoruba pé à ń jèkú tó tán ẹ̀sùn ìgbọ̀nwé padà sáwò. Government action and...
You would have to interpret that, Gbenga.
Except I just do the literal translation.
All right.
We are trying to finish the bean cake, and you are still pouring back the crumbs in your hand into the plate. Like you want to scrape the plate clean. Yet the crumb of bean cake in your hand, you are pouring it back into the plate. What that is saying in essence is that sometimes for peace to reign, there are things that the government needs to do, but I'm sure that the government wants to just use this movement to scapegoat ASU so that all other unions will think twice before they go on strike. But you see, if you do not do the things that will stop them from going on strike, irrespective of the tactics that you adopt in not paying them their salary and all the rest, they will still go on strike, and it will not solve the problem. So rather than happen on no payment, no work, no pay, the government should look at the genuine complaint and concern of ASU and look for how to ensure that.
Gbenga, are you there?
Yeah, I'm with you.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your thoughts on the newsstand this morning. Appreciate your joining us to review the papers, and we hope that you do enjoy the rest of your day, and happy new month to you.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
All right.
There you go. That's the newsstand this beautiful Thursday morning. Let's now switch gears and talk about the pump price of petrol, as the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited yesterday unveiled a new pricing template for premium motor spirit, otherwise known as petrol.
When you listen to this station, you learn about your rights. You discover the law in ways you never imagined. You know why? Because we broadcast in your interest.
It's a problem that we are all experiencing in the country. Different parts of the country, the same thing is happening. So who do we call on to? Who do we hold responsible?
We impact knowledge.
If the grid is unable to shed the load that it ought to, it could also result in the collapse of the national grid.
Call it what you may, but we are here to stay. The law was never biased, so why should it be now? To every individual, we are Law FM 103.9.
There are no internal electricity board.
You are listening to Law FM 103.9.
Hello guys, my name is Dele Momodu and you are listening to Law FM 103.9 for knowledge and entertainment. Your only law radio station.
You are the leaders of the country today. Tomorrow has come.
Law is meant to be understood by everyone in society, irrespective of age or status. No bias. It should be clear and precise. Law FM 103.9 gives you the best content, and they are here for you. My name is Khadija Okunulamidi, and I urge you to keep listening to Law FM 103.9.
It's Thursday, the 1st of June 2023. This is the Law FM Morning Show. Thanks for staying tuned. We're now on the segment The Discourse. And this is a segment where we'll focus on the hot topic in the news. And of course, this pump price issue is very hot, and we need to talk about that. The long-awaited price for petrol was affected by the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited yesterday morning, providing clarity around prices post the removal of the controversial subsidy, which cost almost $10 billion last year. Well, you'd realize that the new development is seen in Lagos, where NPC Limited now retail fuel at 488 naira per